More than 100 years ago, they took a chance to travel to the other side of the world, but they ended up footnotes in history's most famous maritime disaster. 8 Chinese men left their homes and families to work in the US's thriving shipping industry. Only 6 made it. Their choice of transport, Titanic.
There has been this completely understandable, valid sense that these are stories that should not be shared, that secrecy is the best way to go because they face such discrimination in countries. They've had to cover so much and hide so much in order to just exist in these countries.
It was such a horrific event in his life. It's sort of like people that's been to war. They don't like to speak about what they experienced.
Despite what they'd gone through, barely 24 hours after being rescued, the men were sent on to the ships they were scheduled to work on under the Chinese Exclusion Act. Even there, they couldn't put the past behind them, dogged by media reports accusing them of dressing in women's clothing to try and sneak onto lifeboats. Claims that resurfaced when director Arthur Jones began looking into the men's fates for his documentary, The Six.
Some people said to us, are you sure you want to do this? Because you're unlikely to find anything out. But if you do find anything out, it's not going to be good. Now we're beginning to look at it through a sort of racial lens or an ethnic lens and discover that there's a whole story that has never really been told about Titanic.
Many of the men's descendants were surprised to learn of their family connection to Titanic. Milwaukee resident Tom Fong had suspected his father had been on board the infamous ship, but growing up, his dad was reluctant to talk about his past. Not only had Feng Long survived, his story had inspired one of the most famous scenes in the 1997 movie by James Cameron.
I've always admired the Chinese guy on the door or on the piece of wood, and that became the inspiration for how Rose was saved.
After so many years of speculation and secrecy, Mr. Fong believes his father would be pleased to see the true story told about what he and the rest of the 6 experienced before and after Titanic. The memory he tried so hard to forget illuminated after more than a century.
I always wonder what my father would think. I think he would probably be sort of happy that it's coming out, to let the truth to come out.
Andrea Nierhoff, ABC News.